Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, December the 14th, the year 2015. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. Hope you guys picked a lot of winners and made a lot of money. Let's get right to it. NFL picks for week number 15 in the league where they play for pay, and let's get right to it. Hard to believe we're in week 15 of the NFL season. How fast is it going? We're going to be in the playoffs real soon. Let's start with the Thursday night game. The St. Louis Rams at home pick 'em with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. St. Louis up to 5-8. They beat Detroit yesterday 21-14. Defense played well. Gurley ran all over that Detroit defense. St. Louis still has no passing game. I think they threw for 120 yards passing yesterday, but they leaned on their defense, leaned on Gurley. That's the Rams' key to success. When Gurley plays well, the Rams usually play well. Tampa Bay, they're down to 6-7. They lost to New Orleans at home yesterday. I did not think that was a good loss for Tampa Bay. Only put up 17 points against that New Orleans Swiss cheese defense. Not a good loss at all for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a very strange game. I mean, this is just a strange game. St. Louis can't pass the ball at all. I mean, Tampa Bay, they're kind of up and down. I mean, I don't know what you're going to get here. St. Louis had lost a ton of games in a row until they won yesterday. Tampa Bay, for most of the year, has been pretty competitive. They're in most of their games. This is a very, very strange game. I'll take Tampa Bay. I just don't trust that St. Louis passing game. I mean, they only threw for 120 yards passing yesterday. I mean, that's not going to get it done on a consistent basis. I think Tampa Bay will load the box, try and stop Gurley. I think Winston will play a little better this week. It's a very, very tough game. It's a game I would not bet. But I will take a chance, and I'll take Tampa Bay on the road here. I just don't trust St. Louis in that bad passing game. So I will take Tampa Bay, pick 'em in St. Louis. That's the Thursday game. Let's get to the Saturday game. There's actually a Saturday game this week. The New York Jets are -3 against the Dallas Cowboys in the Big D. Jets are up to a very impressive 8-5. They bombed Tennessee yesterday. The Jets are in a playoff spot. The Jets win out. They're going to make the playoffs. They do have a tough schedule, though. Dallas down to 4-9. They're done. They got bombed by Green Bay yesterday. Same old story for Dallas. They cannot score. They just cannot score. I mean, the defense plays hard, but after a while, I mean, the offense just cannot do anything. They can't score any points. Again, yesterday they only have 7 points. That's not going to get it done in today's NFL. I got to like the Jets here. I mean, Dallas can't score. The Jets play good defense. The Jets are hot now. Fitzpatrick, who I don't love, is playing well. I got to go with the Jets here. They're just a better team right now. I mean, Dallas, it's been a lost year for them with the Romo injury. It's been a complete disaster. Got to go with the Jets here. Jets -3 in the Big D. That is pick number 2. Pick number 3, let's go to Minnesota, where the Minnesota Vikings are home. -5 against the Chicago Bears. Minnesota down to 8-5. Had the very tough loss to Arizona. I thought they played well in that game. They got a little unlucky at the end. You know, Bridgewater loses the fumble as they're trying to get into field goal range to possibly tie the game. Minnesota played decently. They've had a nice year. They are 8-5. They're right there for the whole playoff mix. Chicago 5-8, lost to Washington at home. You know, it's typical Chicago. Just when you think Chicago is turning the corner, they have 2 bad losses in a row. They lose to the Niners at home, 2 weeks ago. They should have won that game. They missed a field goal to win that game. And yesterday they lose to the Skins at home, and they missed a field goal to tie that game. I mean, what is going on here with the Chicago kicking? I mean, they usually have a reliable kicker. He misses a field goal last week to win the game, misses a field goal yesterday to tie it. I mean, 2 awful losses in a row by Chicago at home. You can't trust them. It's the same old story with the Bears. I got to go with the Vikings. The Vikings play well at home. They're just better than the Bears. I will take Minnesota -5 against the Bears in Mini. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4, let's go to Jacksonville, where the Jacksonville Jaguars are -3.5 against the Atlanta Falcons. Jacksonville up to 5-8, and they just bombed Indianapolis yesterday. I mean, what was the score of that game? 100-13. At one point, there was a minute to go in the second quarter, and Indianapolis was winning 13-3. And I think Jacksonville ended up winning the game 51-13. I mean, nice of Indianapolis to show up in the second half. So Jacksonville gets the win there. They just poured it on Indianapolis. Atlanta down to 6-7. They were shut out by Carolina, and Atlanta, the free fall continues with them. I mean, we know their defense is not any good. Now their offense can't do anything. I got to take Jacksonville here. I mean, off of what I saw yesterday, Atlanta got plastered. Jacksonville scored 51. I got to take Jacksonville, and I don't love taking them, especially given points. I have to do it. I have to take Jacksonville. Believe it or not, Jacksonville's only a game out of the division lead. I mean, with the Indianapolis and Houston faltering, Jacksonville's only a game out of this, so I got to take Jacksonville here. Atlanta is an absolute free fall. Jacksonville minus 3.5 at home is pick number 4. Pick number 5, let's go to Indianapolis. This game is actually off the board. Houston and the Colts. This game is for first place. Both teams 6-7. Like I just mentioned, the Colts got destroyed by Jacksonville. Houston lost last night to New England, 27-6. Couldn't get anything done on offense. We don't know who's quarterbacking this game for either side. By the way, I did get off Houston during the week. I had originally picked Houston the beginning of the week, but once I saw Gronkowski was playing, and once I saw Watt hurt himself, broke a bone in his hand, once I saw that, I got off Houston, and I was smart enough to take New England last night. Gronkowski makes all the difference, and Watt did play, but he was hampered. I mean, he has that cast on. He couldn't line up, the side he wanted to. So I was smart enough to get off that game. As far as this game, I mean, this game is off the board right now. You don't know who's quarterbacking, so I'm going to stay away from this game. It is for first place, though, believe it or not. Two teams really struggling, but battling for first place. But right now, I can't make a pick. I don't know what's going on in that game. So let's move off that game. Let's go to pick number 6. Let's go to Baltimore, where the Kansas City Chiefs are -7 against the Baltimore Ravens. Kansas City up to 8-5. I mean, they've won 7 in a row. Hung on yesterday and beat San Diego 10-3 in a sloppy, ugly mess. The weather was bad. Kansas City had to make a goal line stand to survive this game. But they are in solid playoff shape. Kansas City wins out. They're going to make the playoffs. They have a favorable schedule. Baltimore down to 4-9. Listen, Baltimore, we know it's been a lost year for them. Everyone's out on offense. They've stayed in all the games going into yesterday, but yesterday it all fell apart for them. Seattle blew them out. Seattle was on fire. It all came crumbling down for Baltimore. I got to go with Kansas City here. I just can't trust Baltimore to do anything. I mean, they're playing musical quarterbacks as well. They just can't get anything done on offense. They play hard on defense, but as you saw yesterday, I mean, the dam finally broke. I got to take Kansas City -7 in Baltimore. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7, let's go to Washington, where the Washington Redskins are picking with the Buffalo Bills. Washington up to 6-7 as they beat the Chicago Bears. Washington, of course, tied for first. They actually have the tiebreaker, so they are in first place. Buffalo down to a very disappointing 6-7, lost to Philadelphia yesterday. I'm very disappointed in Buffalo. Very disappointed in Rex Ryan. I mean, he was talking again before the season how this was a definite playoff team. They were going to do some big things this year. They've been too up and down, too spotty. The quarterback's been up and down. The defense has not been as impressive as I thought they would be, especially with Ryan being a defensive coach. You thought the Bills would have a better defense. And what's with all these penalties every week? I mean, it seems like the Bills have 20 penalties every week. I mean, just a complete disaster. I mean, 6-7. Buffalo's got to be better than this. A very disappointing Buffalo. When I look at this spread, I'm like, why does this pick them? Washington, I know these teams have the same record, but Washington is a good home team. I mean, you got to give them a slight edge, right? I thought Washington would be at least a 3-point favorite here. I'm going to take Washington. They play well at home, and they are in first place. I mean, Buffalo, to me, their season is over. They're basically out of the playoffs. They're not going to make it. I got to take Washington. Washington, pick them over Buffalo in D.C. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8, let's go up to New England, where the New England Patriots are -12.5 against the Tennessee Titans. New England up to 11-2. Blew out Houston last night. Like I said, Gronkowski was back in the lineup, made all the difference in the world last night for New England. New England, they start getting their bodies back on the field. New England is still going to be, the number 1 threat to get out of the AFC. They are the number 1 seed the way it played out yesterday. A couple teams lost. New England won. New England is back to the 1 seed. Gronkowski back. They expect Edelman back by the playoffs. New England, they're going to plug in guys. You saw it last night. So New England -12.5 against Tennessee. Tennessee down to 3-10, got bombed by the Jets. To me, this spread is too low. With Gronkowski back, 12.5, I'll give that in a second. I'll take New England -12.5 against Tennessee up in New England. I think this spread should be 17. New England's going to blow out Tennessee, so I'll take New England there. Pick number 9, Let's go to Philadelphia. Very interesting game here. The Arizona Cardinals are -3.5 against the Philadelphia Eagles. Arizona up to 11-2. They beat Minnesota. Arizona looks like they're going to be the 2 seed in the NFC. They are a definite threat to get to the Super Bowl. Philadelphia's won 2 in a row. They are 6-7. They're tied with Washington for first place. They did beat Buffalo yesterday, so Philadelphia is showing signs of life. I still don't trust Philadelphia. I know I keep saying it. I just don't trust them. I do trust Arizona. I think Arizona is one of the better teams in the NFL. Philadelphia, to me, is still spotty, and I just don't trust them. I got to take Arizona here. Arizona -3.5 in Philly is pick number 9. Pick number 10. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, not too far from here, where the Carolina Panthers are -6 against the New York Giants. Carolina up to 13-0. Are you kidding me? They bombed Atlanta yesterday. Carolina is having an amazing season, doing all sorts of good things on both sides of the ball. They've come to play each and every game. Cam Newton is having a ball. Every time he scores a touchdown, he's giving the ball to fans. Carolina is having a lot of fun out there. Giants 5-7. Big game tonight against Miami. The Giants have to have it. They win this game. It's a 3-way tie again in the NFC least, as I call it. Giants have to have it. I'd like to see how the Giants play tonight before committing to this game, but off the top of my head right now, you got to go with Carolina. Hard to go against them right now, and the Giant defense is not good at all. They just are not. This is not the Giant defense of yesteryear with Lawrence Taylor, that's for sure. I'd like to see how the Giants play tonight before committing, but I will take Carolina right now. That is pick number 10. Pick number 11, let's go to Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks are -14 against the Cleveland Browns. Seattle up to 8-5, bomb Baltimore. Seattle is hot all of a sudden, despite all the injuries. They lose Graham. They've now lost their top 2 running backs. But Seattle doing a really nice job, and they found an offense now. I mean, they got that young rookie receiver that's doing some nice things. Baldwin's having a nice year. Wilson's playing well. You know the defense is always going to be there for you. Seattle is on fire. That is a team you do not want to play in the playoffs. They know how to win. They're -14 here against Cleveland. Cleveland up to 3-10. They did beat San Francisco yesterday. Manziel played well. I mean, but again, I can't trust Cleveland, especially on the road. Manziel against that Seattle defense can't do it. I said it yesterday when Seattle played Baltimore. Seattle's going to shut down Baltimore. Same thing here. I think Seattle shuts down Cleveland and Manziel. Seattle -14 against Cleveland. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. Let's go out to Oakland, where the Green Bay Packers are -3 against the Oakland Raiders. Green Bay up to 9-4, looked very good beating Dallas yesterday. The coach for Green Bay is now calling the plays. I don't know why he gave up the play calling to begin with. He's a good play caller. You saw that made a big difference yesterday. I thought Lacey was amazing yesterday. Lacey, who was in the doghouse the last few weeks, he was running a roughshod all over the Dallas defense. Green Bay looked really, really good yesterday. I know it's against Dallas, but Green Bay looked good yesterday. Oakland up to 6-7, beat Denver. How about the comeback by Oakland? They got totally outplayed in the first half, but they're only down 12-0 because Denver was kicking field goals. And then the Oakland defense just dominated the second half. How about Mack? 5 sacks every time I turned this game on. Mack was in the backfield sacking somebody. I mean, what an unbelievable job by him in that Raider defense. So an impressive win by Oakland. This is a very, very tough game, but I was impressed with what I saw from Green Bay yesterday. I like that McCarthy is calling the plays. I like that Lacey ran well yesterday. I'm going to take Green Bay here, -3 in Oakland. I just think Green Bay has figured out something here. Now, listen, I don't know if Green Bay is going to win the Super Bowl this year or even get to the Super Bowl, but I like what I saw from Green Bay yesterday. They got back to playing some good Green Bay football. They've been stagnant the last few weeks. I think the coach calling the plays makes all the difference, so I'll take Green Bay -3 in Oakland. That's pick number 12. Pick number 13, let's go out to San Diego, where the San Diego Chargers are -1 against the Miami Dolphins. San Diego down to 3-10, lost to Kansas City. San Diego hasn't scored a touchdown in like 3 weeks. They did hang in the game yesterday. They almost scored at the end to tie it, but when all's said and done, I think it's been like, 8-9 quarters. San Diego hasn't scored a touchdown. Miami 5-7. They do play tonight. I mean, what a mess of a game this is. I'm going to take Miami. San Diego's 3-10. 3-10. I mean, they are atrocious. I mean, they have a ton of injuries on offense. They can't score. I mean, I'm going to take Miami. It's a terrible game. I wouldn't bet that game. but I'll take Miami. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where the Pittsburgh Steelers are -6 against the Denver Broncos. Denver down to 10-3, lost to Oakland. That was a big loss for Denver. They now dropped to the 3 seed. They could have been the 1 seed. Can't get the ball in the end zone, Denver. The defense always keeps them in the game, but they cannot get the ball in the end zone. It's been a problem they've had all year. We'll see when Manning gets back. Pittsburgh up to 8-5, beats Cincinnati yesterday. Very important win for the Steelers. Of course, Dalton goes out for Cincinnati. That had a lot to do with the game yesterday. I mean, Pittsburgh has to win out. They have a favorable schedule. They could very easily win out. But even if they win out, they're going to need help. Pittsburgh could be 11-5 and not make the playoffs. It could happen. They lose the tiebreaker to Kansas City and the Jets. Kansas City has an easy schedule. Pittsburgh's not catching Cincinnati for the division, so they need a little help. They need the Jets to probably lose a game. Jets have a tough schedule. That could happen. But the Steelers could end up 11-5 and not make the playoffs. I got to like Pittsburgh here. At home with that offense, Denver can't score at all. I know Denver's got a good defense. This is asking a lot for Denver's defense to slow down this Pittsburgh offense in Pittsburgh. I got to like Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh -6 against Denver in the Steel City. That's a must win for the Steelers. Have to have it. That's pick number 14. Pick number 15. Let's go out to San Francisco, where the Cincinnati Bengals are -4 against the San Francisco 49ers. Cincinnati down to 10-3. But they lose Dalton for probably the year. That's not official. They say, maybe he can get back for the playoffs. We'll know more about that today, but I'll tell you, a broken thumb at this stage of the season, and it happened on such a silly play. I mean, Dalton throws this ridiculous little dump-off pass that's picked off by one of the Steelers linemen, then Dalton tries to make the tackle, and he ends up breaking his thumb. What a just silly sense of circumstances that was. I mean, unbelievable that the Bengals lose their quarterback for the year on a play like that, and that could just ruin Cincinnati's year. Cincinnati looked like one of the most complete teams in the AFC now. I mean, who knows what you're going to get. They're probably going to still hang on for the division. They're going to make the playoffs, but without Dalton, they're not going to go far. I mean, this is a very strange game. They're -4 on the road here. Niners are 4-9. Had a terrible loss in Cleveland yesterday. The Niners had played well the last 2 weeks. They beat Chicago on the road. They played a tough game against Arizona before losing that game. But yesterday, they were atrocious. What did they give up? 100 sacks to Cleveland yesterday? Only could score, 10 points against the Browns? I mean, that is a terrible loss by the Niners yesterday. I know the Niners play better at home. They play better defense at home. This is just a mess of a game. With no Dalton and a bad Niner team, this is just an absolute mess. I don't know what you're going to get here. I really don't. I can't trust San Francisco, so I'll take Cincinnati -4 on the road, but I'm not all confident in that game. Just a mess of a game. I'll take the Bengals, but it's a game I'd stay away from. And pick number 16, I believe this is the Monday night game. What an awful Monday night game. The New Orleans Saints are home, -3 against the Detroit Lions. Saints up to 5-8. They did have a nice win on the road against Tampa Bay. Detroit down to 4-9. They just played horrible against St. Louis. Just when you think Detroit is turning the corner, they have a performance like that. They lose the week before on the Hail Mary, and then they come back and lose to St. Louis, who hadn't won a game in 2 months, and Detroit can't move the ball from here to there, and they let Gurley run all over them. I mean, come on, stack the box and stop Gurley. The Rams, what did they throw for 120 yards? Make them throw the ball and beat you. You let Gurley beat you, so terrible loss by Detroit. I got to go with the Saints here, home on Monday night in that building. The fans should be all fired up, and I can't trust Detroit on the road. Can't do it, so I'll take New Orleans there. That's pick number 16. It's a very, very strange week in the NFL this week. A lot of strange game. I was kind of up and down in the NFL this past week. I had the great Thursday night performance. I picked the two-team teaser with Arizona and Minnesota. Picked the over with that game, moved the line. I had Arizona -1, so I won that, and I also took Minnesota +7 straight up, so I had a really nice day on Thursday Night Football, won all the way around. Yesterday I was kind of up and down. I did change my pick. I did go with New England once Gronkowski was playing. I did get off the San Francisco-Cleveland game, once Manziel, they announced Manziel was going to play, so I did get off a few games. I didn't pick the Jacksonville-Indianapolis game. That was a mess, but I was kind of about 500 yesterday, kind of up and down. As far as the bowls, I'll get to those later in the week. I'll make sure I pick the bowls for you later in the week. There's so many bowl games to go through. There's like 40-something bowl games. Like I said last week, there's about 35 of them that are just awful matchups, so I got to go through them. I'm not going to pick every game for you. I'll go through all the matchups. I'll pick maybe like 10 games for you, and then I'll pick the Final Four. But the bowl games, there are some awful matchups. I mean, the sites for these games are just strange. I mean, they have one bowl game in the Bahamas now, and just the sites and the names of these bowls, it's all crazy. Navy did hang on and beat Army over the weekend. Navy's won, 100 times in a row in that series. Army did play well. They hung in the game, but Navy pulls it out again. So that is your college and pro football. Real quick on the MMA, Conor McGregor knocks out Aldo in, 13 seconds? Are you kidding me? I mean, I want to know if anyone enjoyed that pay-per-view. I mean, what do? You pluck down your $60 and you get a 13-second fight again? That reminds me of the Rousey fights, where they would go 15 seconds. 13 seconds after the year build-up to this fight. So great job by Conor McGregor. Awful job by Aldo. I mean, come on. I mean, what were you doing? I mean, you just come running in there. McGregor knocks you out. Terrible job there. Rockhold beat Weidman. That was the co-feature. I thought Rockhold would win this fight. He did. I thought the fight should have been stopped way before it was. Referee let that fight go on way too long. Weidman suffers his first loss, so that was your MMA. I tell you, the Irish fans were absolutely awesome at the MGM Grand. I mean, they were absolutely awesome. What an electric atmosphere. I mean, they all came over from Ireland. What a great crowd in the MGM Grand. Give the Ireland fans credit for coming over and making a lot of noise. They really supported Conor McGregor, and they got just what they wanted, a first-round knockout in 13 seconds. So that was your MMA. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Like I said, I will be back with you sometime this week, and I'll go through the bowl games with you. Of course, you've got your Monday Night Football game tonight, Miami and the Giants. Not a great game, but it does mean a lot for the New York Giants. So you guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Thanks for the support as always. You guys pick a lot of winners, make a lot of money. I'll talk to you guys later in the week. Take care.